Hi, everyone. Hello. I'm going to try and coax my dog to come out. Hi, everybody. Okay. My monitor keeps on acting up. Give me 1 second. I can't see you. 1 second. Okay. Give me 1 second. I can't. My monitor is blank. 1 second. Okay. Let me reset this. Give me 1 second. Okay. Hope it works. All right. You're back. Okay. Sorry about that. First time that happened. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna get my dog on my lap. That's a new sound. Where'd you get that? Okay. Say hi to them, baby. Say hi. Hi. Smells good. You smell good today. I showered him last night. He usually smells good for a day and then he becomes stinky. Okay, let me say hi to everybody. Okay. There you go. Should I? Okay. I'm gonna say hi to everyone. Hi, Hanako Grace, Andy Big Night, Robin Carr, Robin Bryce, Norwegian Wood, Leah, Angel Star, Lisa Parker, Fire Butterfly, MZ Get Real, Leah, Simply JJ, Kathleen, Cindy, Nadira, Jazzy, Reg Pear, A Brown, Leah, Bangi Luna, Emily, Jax, Norwegian Wood, Fire Butterfly, Maritz, Robin Bryce, the Salmar, I Carmi, Lisa Parker, Cindy, Shelling, Angel Star, Pia, Hanako Grace, A Brown, Nadira, Leah, Robin Carr, Portia, Jazzy, Alta, Dawn Marie, Cindy, Helena, Michelle Santiago, Z Arashi, Dodger Girl is on Twitch, Lady Pink, Jax, Oraya, Halinao, Tracy, The Real FS, TFS, Mina, PZ48123, Sagebird, OT7, 1013, Norwegian Wood, Eliz, Becky, Beck, Fire Butterfly is also on Twitch, Warren, Nosy Posey, Francis, Bicrocosmos, Leah, Aspen, Eagle Star is also on Twitch, Bo Mac, Carol Faye, Jasmine, Seda, Alexandra, A. Brown, Danielle, Carla Girl, Maritz, Jasmine, Mob, Mobflea, MLB, Carla Girl, Coogie, also on Twitch, Angel Star, Siki, Cindy, Kirsten, Oriah, Lisa Parker, A. Brown, Z. Arashi, Robin, Bryce, Nadira, Seda, Piazza, Dodger Girl, Lynn, Amy C, Genesis, Personal Space, Jasmine, Omo, Chan, Suki. Hi from Japan. I want to go to your country. I want to watch a BTS concert in Japan. Mandy, Rebecca, Allison. Okay, just the tea, please. Silky, Felicity, Jess Horton, Hanako Grace, Nadira, Jasmine, Tracy Dowd, Angel Star, also on Twitch, Hanako Grace. Okay, Amy C, BTS 7, Seda, Potential Morning. Okay, I think I've said hi to everybody. Elisa Pulido, Nikon Lady, Z Arashi, Amy C, Sylvia, Yvonne, Hanako Grace, Andy Big Night, Future. Okay, Sylvia, Okay, I think I've said hi to everybody. Hi, everybody, and my dog is right here. How was your weekend? I hope you had a good one. We are it's BTS month. It's BTS comeback month. So I'm hoping we can just all focus on BTS, hyper focus, lockdown. Let's not pay attention to anything anymore. Unless it is actually BTS, because we are 3 weeks away from the comeback. So next week is when I formally like just physically preparing for my trip to Korea, and there are some things that have developed. Okay. So one of the things that I've learned is that in South Korea, in instances like this, people actually hire a homeless person to to queue up for them for days. So my daughter my daughter asked me about it. She was like, "Do you want to hire a homeless person?" I said, "Why am I going to hire a homeless person?" So you can hire a homeless person so that they can queue up for you. So and yes, it is Yunggi month. So that's what they'll do. They'll just queue up for you, and then you just pay them. So police is actually Seoul, Korea. Yes, yes. That's what they do. They do that. They hire a homeless person and then they'll just queue up for you. Um now it's not of course a straightforward transaction because someone can actually like intercept the person that that's queuing up for you. Like if someone offers them a higher pay or something like that. So, what the Seoul police is anticipating is that people are gonna queue up 3 to 4 days before the actual event. And one of the ways that they're gonna be doing it would be homeless person. They're gonna go get some homeless people that would camp out for them, and then they'll just go um, and pay them, go back and forth so that they can they can feed them and whatever. So I don't know how that's going to play out. 3 to 4 days before, correct? Yeah. So I don't know how that's going to play out because my daughter and I, what I'm planning to do is do queue up for days for well. So I'm landing on the 19th. I was planning on starting to line up on the 20th, and then my daughter and I are just going to take turns doing that. But I don't know how that's gonna play out if I get there and the entire place is full already. I don't know what I'm gonna be doing. So I am also planning on looking for like a place where I can just wait for them, even if it's I bought a binoculars, monoculars. It's just one that so that I can see them from afar. But I really, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna do my best. I will still live blog everything. So I'm gonna live stream that. I'm gonna be sending to you guys the schedule and stuff. But the original plan was for me to, so I'll get there on the 19th. I'm going to start queuing up on the, just do some stuff on the 19th, go around. Like they announce some of the venues that we can go and visit. I'll go there, I'll go to HYBE, I'll go to some places and then live stream all of that. I was actually planning on live streaming everything from the BTS restaurant, the place that they used to walk, that they used to have a dinner and lunch in. So and then go that route. So from the BTS restaurant to the BTS building to their old dormitory to their second dormitory to the third dormitory and then the park that they used to frequent, because that in itself is like, maybe you'll be done with that in like 3 hours. Maybe it's pretty, like it's very very close to each other. So I was planning on live streaming all of that. um Live stream your airport departure and arrival. I will. So yes, I will. So I'll be okay. So let me finish that thought first. So I was planning on doing that on the 19th, so go that route. But also, but I don't know what's going to happen if that is true, that people are actually going to line up 3 to 4 days before and they're going to be hiring um homeless people. I don't know if I can actually find a homeless person to line up for me. And the thing is that you're going to have to find two, because the two homeless people will have to alternate if someone needs to go to the restroom and whatever. So that's, and I don't know if I can even find that. But anyway, my plan was to do that on the 19th, go that route. And then on the 20th, on the 19th evening, I'll line up. My daughter arrives. She'll alternate with me all the way until the show. So she will probably stay in the hotel during the show and I will try and watch it live, like physically live. But I don't know if that is even possible for me to do it, to do it that way. I mean, if people are lining up on the 3 to 4 days before, I don't stand a chance. I will still go around just to see, all the way up until the night, minutes before the show. I'll try to go around and just see if I can find a spot or whatever. Um, but I don't know. Like, this is a new information for me. I did not know that they actually do that, that they would hire homeless people just to queue up for them. But apparently it's a pretty common practice. They've done it so many times. And well, actually Army was a pioneer on that, meaning um uh Korea Craigslist to search for homeless to save your place, but language barrier unless you know a Korean who can help you find people to wait in line for you. So there you go. So allegedly, like Army was the one who Army is they were the ones who made it an institution. The practice of actually hiring homeless people to line up for you. But I'll see. This is a new development for me. I did not know that this actually happens. But whatever happens, I will live stream everything. And also, as I've mentioned, my hotel is pretty close to the Gwanghwamun Square, so I can always just walk around like up until maybe 30 minutes before the show or 15 minutes before the show and then go back to the hotel, watch it live stream, watch it while as it is being live streamed, and then go back and see what's going to happen. But I have right now, I have no idea what to expect. So um so let's see what's going to happen. Okay, is Fire Butterfly here? Is Fire Butterfly here? Okay, so I think we have an angry person. To get to see them Okay, we have a very angry person. I don't know if you want to deal with that person, but we have a very, very angry person here. So if you want to deal with that, if you don't, let me know. I can just put them on timeout. Okay, so yeah, so which one? It's hand WM W3C. She's just angry. As so far, she's not saying anything like demeaning or whatever. She's just angry. Okay, if you want to deal with that, if you don't, I will give her some time to rest. Okay, so I will let you know. The building around the square could sell tickets to their rooftop. That is one of the things that I'm going to be doing first as soon as I arrive. I'm going to go to the different buildings and see if they're selling tickets. If they are, I'll definitely buy them. As I've said, I will exhaust all avenues to try and see them on the day itself. I know the Contemporary Museum might be selling tickets. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. But I will exhaust all resources. But the plan, if like nothing goes, if I can't see any place to stand or whatever, then I can just always go around up until like 30, maybe even 15 minutes before the show, go back to the hotel, watch it from there, and then go back down and see what's going to happen. And then the next day, everything continues. So I right now, oh, and they left already. So right now, I don't have like I don't. I'm not gonna allow anything to spoil this comeback. I'm for me at the very least. For me, I don't want to allow anything to spoil this comeback. I'm so excited. So I'm going to push anything aside and just concentrate on just having just experiencing this, and I'll do my best to bring all of you. So I will exhaust all resources that I can commit to you. Okay, so MHJ blesses you all tonight. I'm sure she does. Okay, so with the shaman, I guess. Oh, we have several. So just let Fire Butterfly know if you ever see someone who's not on board with us. Okay. So a long time coming. I know. I just really want to concentrate on the comeback and not allow Sejong Center for the Performing Arts. Yes. So I will try that as well. I was given like 3 to 4 buildings to try. I'll try to see. Okay. So let's get out some of the difficult things first. Let's finish all of that. And then Sagebird, thank you. Oh, Sagebird, thank you so much. Thank you. Um, okay, so let's finish some of the difficult things first. Let's get all of those things out of the way. And before I discuss this, I just want to again remind everybody that I do not want to talk politics. I'm just going to be talking about how this conflict might affect BTS or the safety of armies that might want to go to the different countries that they will be performing in. But please don't make a comment on the politicians that are involved, the presidents that are involved. That's an entirely different channel. I'm not the person to not the right person to talk about, and also this is not the right show or the right stream to talk about things like that. So this is just for debug separation and anxiety. So this is just to give you an idea on what we could expect given the geopolitical tension, what we could expect as fans. But before that, I'm not a geopolitical expert, so do not base any of your decision with what I am about to say. So just because I say something, don't say, okay, because Fairlane said it, it's okay for me to go to this certain country. Okay, so this should be a part of your initial research, but do consult experts before you make any kind of decision that involves your safety. Again, this is not the show for that. I'm not going to be talking about politics. Please, please don't. Okay? All right. So this is just in relation to the safety of armies and the safety of BTS, of course. Okay. So the two countries that you're looking at would be South Korea and Iran. So Iran is the place that the US bombed, and they're still bombing. The attack is probably going to continue 2 to 4 more weeks. The goal, I think, is to finish all of the bases where the US thinks they are building their nuclear weapon. Okay, and then that country is South Korea. Okay. So now, what is the main question that a lot of people are asking me is, are you going to be safe, like me going to South Korea, or fans that are traveling to different countries where BTS will be. But the first stop, of course, is South Korea. Are they going to be safe? So, this is the short answer. The chances of Iran attacking South Korea is very low. But just like anything in life, it's never zero. So that is if you want a straight up, no BS answer, that's your answer. The chances of Iran attacking South Korea is very low, but never zero. Okay. A fire butterfly, the name is Shi Wang Loves MHJ. That's the name of the account that's very unsettled right now. Okay. So, but okay. So now let's expound on that. Okay. How is that? Why did I say that? So, as you know, the U.S. bombed, and the U.S. continues to bomb Iran, and Iran has retaliated, and that's pretty expected. But they primarily focused their retaliation on U.S. bases in the Middle East. So Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, I think they've Saudi, Dubai, so Israel and Gulf allies, without any indication of actually expanding to East Asia or any part of Asia. No, well, not well, no, sorry, no plan of expanding to East Asia. So Iran, if you can spot them in the map. So there's Iran. And then if you observe the countries that they are attacking, Saudi, Bahrain, it's right around their vicinity. So it's very close to where they are. And then Egypt is right there. So that should already provide you a clue on the kinetic reach that they have, meaning the physical reach that they have with their nuclear weapon. Okay. Um Fire Butterfly said they blocked me, so I cannot see their post. I can just block them if people are uncomfortable. Let me know. I don't have to block them. I can just put them on timeout just to let them settle for a bit. Okay, so South Korea is a key ally of the U.S. South Korea hosts 28,500 U.S. troops, but they are not. South Korea itself, as a country, is not directly involved with the conflict. So, and they also, so that's number one reason South Korea is not really involved. And number two, South Korea is actually well beyond the effective military reach of Iran. And that second reason might actually be more important um, than anything. Because if you're the military, if you don't have the physical reach, then you are probably not going to be able to do anything, regardless of how angry you are to a certain country. But right now, they actually did not, as of now, there is no indication that they have any interest in attacking South Korea. But primarily, it's because they are outside of their reach, even though South Korea is a major ally of the US. So these are some of the camps of the US in South Korea. All in all, there are about 28,500 military men in US military men in South Korea. So why are experts saying that the likelihood is very low? Okay. So there are certain factors. Number one, the limited military capabilities. Iran's ballistic and cruise missiles have a maximum range of 5,000 kilometers. So the number one reason, at least this is what the US government and Israel are claiming, is that the number one reason they're attacking Iran is because they're building their military, their nuclear weapon. But it is still very limited. And they said that, at least according to some experts, the Iran is actually maybe 10 years away from fully developing their military capacity, specifically their nuclear weapon, their nuclear capacity. Right now, their longest range is about 5,000 kilometers, and South Korea is 6,500 to 7,000 kilometers away from Iran. So they're well outside of the reach. Yvonne said, I was stationed at Osan Air. So they're and developing them to reach 10,000, which is what they would need if they want to attack South Korea. It's going to take years. And according to US intelligence themselves, they don't have the capacity yet. Okay. So for now, they can't. Um, Iran's ballistic missile arsenal is focused on medium range attacks, with the longest publicly confirmed range to be about 2,000 kilometers and 3,000 kilometers. So there is just it's they don't have the military capacity right now, even if they want to. So that's the number one reason that experts are providing. If you want to further understand the military capacities, and there's also some military terminologies and acronyms out there, you can go to the Center for Strategic International Studies. There is an article, How Would Iran Respond to the US Attack? That's a pretty good article, pretty objective. So if you want to actually learn more about that, you can read that article. Okay. So, with the given capacity of Iran, the only ones that they can really truly attack would be the neighboring ones. So that would be Israel, which they have already done, U.S. military bases in the Gulf and broader Middle East, parts of Eastern and Southern Europe, Greece, Bulgaria, Romania, potentially up to Berlin or Rome in optimistic and extended range. I don't think they're going to do that to Berlin, but let's see, and then nearby regional adversaries. So even if, let's assume that they have the capacity to attack to go to about 3,000, that's still less than half of what they need if they want to attack South Korea. So ideally, if you want to attack something, you don't want to attack somebody that is in the maximum of your range. You want to attack someone that is well within your range, because the longer it is, the longer the distance, then the less accurate you are. Okay. Majestic, nothing of that sort. Please don't. Nothing, no, no. This is a warning. No, nothing political. Please, we're just going to be discussing how this is going to affect the tour, nothing political. Please don't. Okay? Okay. Next. Okay, so the distance to South Korea in a straight line, if you do a straight line, that would be 6,500 from Iran. It's 6,500 to South Korea, 65 to 6,700 kilometers. That's the distance. So this is more than double Iran's maximum range, effective missile range. And also no known Iranian missile, drone, or cruise missile. So we're not just limiting this discussion to air attack, it could also be naval. There is no known cruise missile that can cover the distance with a meaningful payload or accuracy. So, as I've said, for anybody to develop such a capacity, according to US intelligence and US military, they actually require more than a decade. And according to our own intelligence, they're not there yet. So, and what's the reason the attack is happening for 2 to 4 weeks is that the US is actually attacking all of the bases that they have, all the places where they're building their military capacity. So, that in itself is going to hinder them from fully developing the longer range capacities that they need. So there is no evidence of Iranian proxies or assets in East Asia capable of kinetic attacks on South Korea. Because one of the other questions is that could they actually be using a proxy, meaning another country or another place from where they could launch their attack. And according to our own, meaning the US, our own intelligence, there is um, no known proxy that Iran can actually use to do the attack. So that further lowers the possibility that they're going to do it. Now there are other delivery methods. It's not just limited to air. Um, Aircraft or bombers, of course, Iran's Air Force lacks the long range strike capability, refueling, or stealth to reach and return from South Korea without being intercepted. So, but they can also use submarines or naval assets. Iran has limited submarine reach and no proven ability to long range missile launches from the Indian Ocean or Pacific. So again, um, Jazzy said, I know it's a touchy subject. It is good that Fairlane is alerting us that. And even I have to stop myself from saying anything further since this is not my YouTube page. Thank you. Nothing political. We're just discussing whether or not they can actually attack South Korea, but I'm not going to entertain or tolerate any kind of political comments. Please respect that. If you can't, you can always log out. Okay. Okay. So again, proxy, can they use that? Certainly, but there is no known proxy that they can actually use. There are some theories that people are floating around, but usually it's those are all like unfounded or like theories with no actual basis. It's like theory that they made from just observing things, but there is no material document or proof that they are using in saying that, oh, this country can actually be a proxy or anything like that. So no established proxy network either. Okay. Next. Um they can also so Iran does not have operational ICBMs, which would need about 10,000 kilometers range to hit distant targets like the US or East Asia reliably. US intelligence assessments, including from 2025, indicate that Iran is years away. So as I've mentioned, why do they keep on like harping on the 10,000 kilometer range? It's because you need that much. If your target is like 6,500 or 7,000 kilometers away from you, you need the 10,000 kilometer capacity so that it is accurate. If you push it, like if you develop something that that can reach 7,000, you have a higher possibility of error. So that's why you need the longer range so that your target falls well within your range. Okay. So no ICBM capacity either. Now, not only that, so all of that are physical limitations of their military. There's also strategic priorities and escalation risks. So that means that outside of what they can do, the question is, should they do that? Like, even if they can do it, the question is, should they do that? So Iran's responses, they have retaliated, they have attacked other countries. Iran's responses are calibrated to impose costs without actually fully provoking US invasion. So they don't want to do that either because they do know that US still far more superior um military wise. So they don't want to provoke that the way Japan provoked Pearl Harbor. So they want to be able to assert their ability and their independence and give a warning shot and tell everybody we're going to be fighting back without actually provoking the US to do anything about it. And if they attack the US directly, that's provocation. For sure the US is going to attack. So they don't want that either. So they so 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 there is no strategic gain for them if they attack anything that would really hurt the US, including attacking US directly, or, for example, attacking one of the bases of the US that would hurt 28,500 soldiers, right? Okay, they don't want to do that to the US. Okay, so Wanda, if you do not want to participate, you can just log off. You can just log off. Log off. If you don't like what you're hearing, you do not have to bear it. This is like life is too precious. Go ahead and enjoy. Go, please. Please. Okay. Um, Nadira, why do you take so long to put folks who disturb the chat in timeout? I'm doing it as fast as I can. If there's anybody that you think I should put on timeout, remember I'm also talking. I'm trying to concentrate on what I'm saying and also concentrate on just putting people on timeout, let me know. I'm doing as fast as I can. If you think I'm doing it slower, either call my attention, but I'm doing the best that I can. Okay. Next. Curious Harlow, again, let me pause and let me again remind everybody. I am not here to question anybody's um uh policy. This is not the show for that. This is not the YouTube channel for that. I do Asian entertainment and culture. What I am doing is actually giving inputs on the possibility, on the safety of people that might travel to South Korea, and by extension, any other country that BTS is going to be visiting. But any kind of discussion about policy on whether or not this is correct, this is not the station for you. This is not the show for you. So please log off if you don't like what you're hearing. Do not subject yourself into something that will not make you feel good and is not consistent with your values. I don't see any reason why you should. You don't like what you're hearing right now? Log off. Okay? That's the last warning. Anybody I see that is still insisting on what they want to say that goes beyond what I am allowing to cover in this show, I am just going to block. Okay? No more warning. I'm just going to block you. Thank you. All right. Okay. So strategic priorities. Again, Iran would not want to do anything that would provoke the US. So there are 28,500 military personnel, US military personnel in South Korea. So if they attack that, considering that South Korea is not even involved in this kind of conflict, that is a provocation. They are probably going to go on a bigger war. And considering they have not developed their military yet to their fullest capacity, it's probably not the kind of war that they want to get themselves into. So attacking South Korea would cross major red lines, potentially drawing on North Korea, which has condemned the US Israel strike but shown no intent to escalate or forcing US resource diversion from the Middle East. Okay, so most like strategically, it doesn't make sense for them to attack. Okay, next. There also is no historical enmity or direct threats. Iran and South Korea have maintained very good relationships. South Korea has actually they import a lot of their oil from Iran, and I think several times the state leaders of South Korea and Iran have met. So between the two countries, there is no animosity. So the Iran, despite them being in a war, if ever they want to get into a war, they still need their economy to continue to operate. So they don't want to spoil any kind of economic relationship they have going. And one of the biggest partners and the one of the biggest customers that they have is South Korea. So they don't want that. So why do that if you are Iran? If you want to retaliate, why are you going to go after South Korea when you can just attack someone else that is closer to home, that is most likely going to, I guess, establish or like deliver a stronger message, right? Okay. Next. There. So sorry. Okay. Next. There are indirect risks for South Korea. So it's not just a direct military attack. There's also a lot of indirect hits. One of which is an economic oil disruption. As I've said, the South Korea imports a lot of their oil from Iran. I think about 70% of their oil supply is actually coming from the Middle East. Okay, so if Iran actually closes the Strait of Hormuz, I'm sure that you've heard about this area. It's a very narrow, it's the red spot on the screen right now. It's that red spot. So if they ever close that strait, if they ever close that area, then that's going to cut off a lot of this oil supply from the Middle East, coming from the Middle East, going into other countries. If that happens, oil price will actually shut up. So it's not going go up. I mean, it's not that the countries are going to lose all of their oil supply right away. It's not going to happen. A lot of countries actually have years of oil supply in their arsenal. So it's not going to be immediate. I mean, running out will not be immediate, but the prices are definitely going to go up. So that's an indirect attack on the economy of South Korea. That's something that they are probably going to do if the attacks does not stop, or if some of their demands don't get met. Then that's most likely something that they're going to do. So outside of the military attack, an economic attack will probably be another option. Okay. So however, it's more a disruption from an economic point of view. They call it the disruption, not really an attack. There's also the cyber or hybrid threat. So the Iran has a sophisticated um, like cyber capacity. So it is possible that they would choose to attack the infrastructure of Korea. So there are talks that Iranian hackers are actually really good and that they can exploit global dependencies, meaning a lot of countries communicate with each other for economic reasons. They can exploit that. They can attack that front. So, but this is it's really not like if they have hackers, so does other countries. And um, they're most likely, I mean, at least it's they might be able to hack dollars or things like that, but it's not a physical attack on South Korea or any other country. It's a cyber one. Okay. Amazon Fire Butterfly said Amazon servers house over a third of internet capacity globally. So this is very, very technical, but as I've said, it's still related to cyber attacks. They deputized a hacktivist group. They are not really one of the few, probably one of the few countries that have a well-developed hacktivist group. What they do is if they learn of someone, if they know someone, an Iranian that is very good at hacking, very good in the cyber security, whatever, they actually they employ that person to work for their government. So they do have sophisticated cyber capacity. So if they do want to hack the system of different countries, they probably could. But again, a lot of those attacks can be warded off because other countries like the US, for example, in South Korea, they also have their own hacktivist group. They call it a different name, but they do the same thing. Okay, next. The South Korean government has already issued statements about how they are preparing for this. So they do know that if you read their papers, they are translated in English, or at least most of them. If you read their papers, the South Korean government has already issued a statement saying that they're very much aware of what could happen. Just like any other government, they have officials, they have military people, strategic personnel that can actually run through the different scenarios. And that includes this, that they get roped into this thing that they didn't ask for. So they are preparing for it. The government said that they are preparing for it. And they are not just preparing military wise, they're also preparing on all fronts, economic, cyber, all of those things. So they are very much aware of the hacktivist group in Iran. And they said that they are also going to be preparing for that. Um, thanks, Rin. On top of the, thank you, Yvonne. Okay, so they know about the cyber attack. They know about the supply of oil, and they know about the lack of Iran's capacity to do long range attacks. But nonetheless, they are preparing for it. Now, I guess one of the biggest advantage is the location that they have. One of the reasons that the US has a station in South Korea is their geographical location. So the US would want to protect them so that they could keep that location. And the South Korea will most likely want to protect their relationship with the US because North Korea is right across the border. So they kind of want to protect that relationship. Okay. Broader geopolitical context. So um, there are some people that are specifically a lot of people online that are saying that this can um, push North Korea to resume their nuclear talks with Trump. Because they, in the first term, in Trump's first term, they started talking about it and then it stopped. But they said that this might actually push North Korea to resume nuclear talks with Trump. Let's see if that's going to happen. I don't see that happening. They might pretend to talk just so they could get out, not be involved in this kind of an attack. But I don't see that going anywhere in the next 3 years. Okay. Now, there are some people asking, is it a symbolic attack, the retaliation? Um, for example, in there have been, historically, there have been countries who have been attacked by a country with a far more superior military capacity. And what they would do is do a counterattack but not really do any kind of damage. So other people are questioning, can that happen to South Korea? So Iran, for example, would want to make a statement by attacking South Korea. Okay, so the answer is that this is not a universally true statement. There have been instances like that when a country have been attacked by someone that has a far more superior military capacity, but it is not universally true. It's not what always happens. So for example, wait, do you want to go down, baby? Say bye. Say bye. Say bye to everybody. Okay, bye. Okay. So, for example, Iran's 2020 missile strike on the U.S. bases in Iraq, following the U.S. drone strike that killed uh, the Iranian general Soleimani. It was in January 2020. There was a pressure on Iran to do something domestically. Domestically, the government, Iran's government, was getting pressured to retaliate. So they did, but they attacked stations, U.S. stations, with very few people, and allegedly they gave the U.S. warning that they were going to attack so that they can take cover. So no one really got hurt. Zero fatalities in that attack. So that has happened where it's more symbolic rather than actual. Um, the other is Libya's response in the U.S. airstrike back in 1986. The US bombed Libyan targets 1986. They call it the Operation El Dorado Canyon, and in retaliation for a Berlin discotheque bombing linked to Libyan agents. But the same thing happened. There weren't a lot of fatalities, but they said that it was actually just an indirect response to what the US did, but not a lot of uh, confirmed fatalities. There is some discussion about a flight, an air plane that was bombed, and 270 people were killed or targeted, but it was never confirmed. So that's another instance where they said it's more symbolic than anything. There's also serious limited response to U.S. strike between 2017 and 2018 when the Tomahawk missile strikes on Syrian based in 2017 and 2018. And in response, there was a chemical weapon used by the Assad regime. But same thing, Syria's military fired some anti-craft missile, but caused no U.S. damage or casualties. And again, allegedly, they also gave U.S. warning before they actually did the retaliation, before they attacked. So, however, this retaliation that they're doing, it's not symbolic because they usually, if it's symbolic, they would fire like 10 to 14 missiles at a time, and they also provide advance warning. They're not doing it now. So they truly are retaliating. Um they also appointed the new leader. But I think the biggest consideration, or if you are a fan traveling to South Korea for the concert, the number one thing that you still have to remember is that no matter the assessment, or no matter um warnings or the recommendations of other people, at the end of the day, you have to just concentrate on what you think is going to be safe for you. So don't depend on anything else but your own decision. If you do not think it is safe for you to go there, then don't. But at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, it's your life, right? So um, just do what you think is best for you. But those are the things that were offered by military experts, political analysts, on whether or not South Korea could be a target. This The BTS Gwangwamon concert has been mentioned by several journalists already in relation to this, but they're all saying the chances is very, very small. However, it's never zero. So just be aware of that. Is it going to keep me from actually making my trip to South Korea? No. As I've said, I don't want to. Number one, I don't want the threats to control my life. Like, if I'm going to listen to all the threats that are, and all the unsafe things that are happening, then I'm just going to stay inside my house and not do anything. Just And I don't want that. I don't think that's the way to live. So I will still go. My niece, sorry, my cousin is actually in Dubai. And that's also one of the reasons I was kind of hoping that they do a concert in Dubai, because I wanted to visit her. And they're doing the same thing. They're just living their lives considering they were actually attacked. So I want to do the same thing. I'm just going to continue. I'm going to make my trip to South Korea, and then let's see what's going to happen. But I kind of, for this is personal for me. I believe that um it's just really zero, not zero, but it's very, very low. The chances of South Korea getting attacked is very, very low, primarily because they have very limited military capacity, and it makes no sense for them to do it right now. Like, in terms of resources, they might as well attack the ones that are close to them rather than go to Southeast Asia. So there you go. That's the assessment. But again, I'm not a geopolitical expert, so don't base your decision on what I have just said. Do you have questions? South Korea has maintained the level 3 travel advisory for Iran. Um, Fairlane is right. Don't live in fear. Everybody will be fine going to Korea. Leah, I feel your pain. Both my mom and my dad, my deceased sister, have had fibromyalgia. What is that? The flare ups are murder. Um, okay. Do you have questions before I move on? Um, Hi, Fairlane. I was working late. What did I miss? I just discussed whether or not there is a possibility Iran will attack South Korea. Okay, be right back serving dinner. Lily, okay, hopefully by next year everything is settled. Yeah, so they said 2 to 3 weeks after that, some resolution is going to 1 to 2 weeks, I think, or 2 to 3 weeks. There will be some resolution. So I hope that after that, things are going to settle. I do know that that BTS is making some plans, or at least Big Hit was actually planning on um on actually going to some countries right around there. So, um, I mean, they've done one in Saudi already, so there is a possibility they'll do another one, right? But with what's happening, I don't know whether they're going to do that or not. Didn't you and I have a okay? That's not for me. So trust your discussion safety. Do not put up just not up to this issue too many political variable. An anti-inflammatory diet and herbal. Okay, so that's about diet. Okay, do you have questions before I move on to the next topic? I have friends in Dubai now, as I used to live there. They're back to work to business as usual. Yeah, my cousin, same thing. So she works there. She has her own business, and she also works for a company. And yeah, they said it's business as usual. Like they things stop for the day, and then the next day they're back to it. Um. Okay. So next topic. I thought I saw earlier in the chat something about B threat. Is that true? Um, Bomb threat? I don't. Well, so the South Korean, it's actually funny. Not funny, but it's actually interesting how how the South Korean, the Seoul City is actually moving for this comeback. So they, as I've mentioned earlier, they already know that fans are going to be hiring um, uh, homeless people to line up for them. Okay. So they also now have upped their actual crowd estimate to 260,000. Initially, they think that 260,000 people will come to Seoul, but not everybody will come to the event. That's their initial anticipation. Now they're saying that 230,000 can actually come to the actual Gwanghwamun event. So if you look at the layout, it's kind of interesting. So if that is where this is where the stage is going to most to be built, most likely, or maybe a little further back. If you do it that way, there's really the ones that will give people a clear view of the stage will only be on one side. So it's going to be on your right side if you're looking at the screen, right? So if that happens, because in the middle the statue is there, so it really doesn't make much of a sense for them to put people in front of this statue because you can't see anything. Okay. So further back, yeah, further back. So if they do so then what will happen if 230,000 people will actually come to the actual concert, to the actual comeback? Many of these people will most likely position themselves on the street. So they already said that they're going to be closing, I think, a certain radius from the event itself. So on the event itself, if your hotel is outside the radius, you're probably going to have to walk because they're going to be closing stations, the train stations, bus operations will halt. So you will have to get off a certain area and then start walking. So it's going to be kilometers. You're going to be walking kilometers from the area because they're going to be shutting it down. So if it is 230,000 people that will go there, do we expect this entire area all the way to across the street is going to be filled with people? So I don't know if there is any, like, if you are if you don't have a seat in the concert, and if you can't hire someone to queue up for you, or you don't queue up yourself days before, where where are you gonna where are you going to position yourself, right? So I think it would be wiser for a lot of people that will come to South Korea to maybe just go and stay in their hotel and watch the live stream from their hotel, and just go to the venue before and after. Going there and not and to try and get a seat or get a place, I don't know if it's even like a wise thing to do, given the estimates that the Seoul government is actually giving. So, um, okay, questions. You are reminding me of the poem "The Love Song of J. Alfred" by T.S. Eliot, reflecting anxiety and fear, and if you allow it to stop you from living. Um, Truth Warrior. Okay. I thought the photo is Gwangwamun. This is Gwangwamun, but they said so if you see if you can so there is a grass right behind the stage right now. They said the stage is going to be all the way there before. So right behind this stage that you're looking at, there's King Sejong. So they will be positioning the stage at the back of King Sejong, not in front. So at least that's what they are anticipating. So to in order to maximize the space and allow as many people as they could possibly accommodate. So they're going to position the stage all the way back there, right at the narrowest end of the green lawn. They said the stage is going to be there. Even if a homeless person is hired, how do you locate them with so many people around? So the yes, so that's a factor. But the condition is that number one, there really is no like contract between you and the homeless person, right? So it's all going to be built on trust. So the I guess the not I guess, but what usually happens is like several hours before the actual show, you go to where the homeless person is right off the bat, right? And many of these homeless person they have phones. So so if they ever move, they can just let you know. And then several hours before the show, you go to where he is, you exchange, they leave, you take their place. Um Danny, I'm not sure if you saw my message, but the National Museum of Korean Contemporary and Sejong Art is closed on March 21. Ah, okay. So they're not selling tickets. Initially, it was estimated that over a million would travel and only 260,000 is showing up in the area. Yeah. So they initially the South Korean government is not anticipating all 260,000 to come to the actual event, the 1 hour event. They're anticipating they will come to Seoul. They weren't anticipating that they would come to the actual event. But based on the last plan that they have, they're anticipating for all of that to actually come to the actual event, hence the virtual stadium that they are building. So they've already mapped out like the sections of the virtual stadium, so that they can properly assign security and stuff like that. Okay. Any other question before I move on to the next topic? They will be closing nearby subway stations, Gyeongbokgung City Hall. Attendees need to walk all the way to the Gwangwamun Square if you want to see the stage. Correct? Yeah. So luckily, the hotel that I got is right there. It's not super close, but it's you know manageable. Okay, so there is a development in South Korea, though. They have one of their politicians actually sided with Iran. So they said that that's more of a threat than anything. It's more a domestic thing. The president has not made a comment on that person, but he sort of sided with Iran on this one. So they said that if there's any threat, it would be a local one. Okay, so there's a brewing narrative online. Um, a lot of armies are already starting to become very impatient because we are 16 days away from the comeback. And imagine that. No, 16? No, 18 days away from the comeback and no comeback schedule, no MV teaser, nothing like not it seems that they have announced the activities, but outside of the announcement they haven't really released anything. And when I say they, I mean Big Hit and BTS. And the last several days, and then a lot of Koreans are were expecting that they were going to release something on the first, because on the first was a significant day for them, And they thought that given that the theme was Arirang, they thought that BTS was going to release something on that day as well. Did not happen, and they haven't still said anything to this day. Okay, so one of the things that people are saying is that Big Hit had 4 years to prepare for this. Why is this promo so bad? Now, so J Hope, Jungkook, and RM, these are the three who have actually gone on a live stream and sort of addressed the promotion. They've all mentioned that they are aware of fan expectations. They have stated that they know that this seems to be different. They know that armies are waiting, but they also stated they are doing what they want to do the way that they want to do it. So I think at the end of the day, we have to remember that they are still in control on how they want to do things. They Big Hit may have had 4 years, maybe even 6 years to present to BTS or prepare the comeback, but at the end of the day, BTS still calls the shots. So just because they are not releasing anything, it doesn't automatically mean that Big Hit did not want to release anything. It could also be that BTS was the one who did not want to release anything. Do remember that they announced the city back in January, or at least it got leaked before they formally announced it. And what happened? Someone actually tried to copy it, right? And it's only a good thing if so do remember that BTS the city as a concept first happened back in Las Vegas. So the Boraje Vegas, Bora Vegas, I think is how they called it. Which was not even a big hit initiated activity. It was initiated by Vegas. If that didn't happen, then other groups that tried to copy BTS the city could easily claim that BTS is the one copying them. But do remember this concept, the concept itself first happened in Las Vegas back in 2021. Okay? So from there, they're just Borahegas. Okay, Borahegas is how they called it. So that was the first time BTS the city as a concept first came about. But even then, so BTS the city Seoul is actually expanding or scaling up that concept. They announced it January, or it got leaked January, and already someone tried to copy it. If BTS didn't do it back in 2021, people are going to claim that BTS is copying someone else, which is not true. We know that's not true. So do remember that a lot of the things that one of the things that they could be also doing is trying to protect their IP. They do want to be the first ones. Of course, they want to establish, they've never cared about other people copying the things that they have done after they have done it. But I do think it is imperative that they be able to protect it. And giving people a month of leeway, it is possible for them to be copied. Again, as other groups try to copy the city. So keep that in mind, that this could also be them being very much aware on how much they are being copied, and they just want to make sure that, okay, if you want to copy us, do it after, but we want to be sure that we are the ones that will implement the activities that we have thought of. Okay. After Borahegas, they actually did it in Busan as well. But the very first one was Vegas. So they have all of these activities lined up. I don't think that Big Hit actually released any kind of official activities, but Vegas itself provided a lot to armies that went to Vegas for the concert. Um, so the other thing is that Big Hit could have made all the plans that they want. But unless BTS says yes, then they won't be able to implement any of those plans. I don't know if you remember that IG account that said she is a creative director for Big Hit, saying that, we're talking about like how they prepared for this for 4 years and stuff like that. Um, so one of the things that a lot of armies tried to remind other armies is that Big Hit or BTS actually was not allowed to work or do any kind of activities that will yield any kind of income while they were inside the military. And they were also very, very clear that they have total control over their creatives. So if Big Hit worked while BTS was and meaning work meaning they closed things, they closed contracts, they finalized activities that takes away from the creative control of BTS. And BTS have already made it clear they are in total control. So no matter the preparations that they made, at the end of the day, BTS is actually the one that gives them the final okay. Also, I don't know if people are appreciating this, if armies are appreciating this, but BTS just announced and prepared an unprecedented comeback. It's going to be in Gwanghwamun. Absolutely no other act in the world has done this before. That they've integrated their cultural influence into what they are trying to in the concept, not just as an aesthetic, but actually integrated in their concept. This is the first time this has happened. And we aren't happy about that. Like I don't know um what else armies are expecting. Like what else do you want? They're staging a first, a global first that shocked everybody. That everyone is going to for sure copy. And armies are still not happy, or at least some armies are still not happy. Like what else do you want? You would rather that they busy themselves with preparations for the comeback. I mean, a schedule rather than getting something substantial as this. Aren't we supposed to concentrate on the impact and the uniqueness of this comeback rather than asking for things that aren't there? Okay. I wish Army would get rid of the K-poppy mentality altogether. BTS is outside that realm for sure. Um, so I think we also need to keep in mind that whatever it is that we are expecting, we certainly have the freedom to say it. We certainly have the freedom to say, oh, I wish BTS would do this and would do that. That is part of your freedom as a person. And I guess to a certain extent, that adds to the conversation online about BTS. But directly criticizing BTS or Big Hit for the kind of for how they are deciding to do this promotion is a misstep because it could greatly affect it could reflect on BTS. How many times have we criticized BTS for something or Big Hit for something only for BTS to reveal it was their decision? Case in point is J-Hope. A lot of people criticized Big Hit for not launching or releasing a physical copy, a physical CD of his first album. And later on, J-Hope disclosed that it was his decision, primarily because he was not sure what to do. He was the first official release and they've up until that point they were only releasing mixtapes, so he wasn't sure if CD was actually the right decision. It actually turned out that he realized later on that armies wanted it, but only after he was maligned already by his so-called fans, talking about how stupid it was to not release a CD, only for him to later on state, oh, it was his decision. We know that Jungkook was heavily criticized for not writing his songs, only for him to reveal it was what he wanted all along. It was a calculated move. He was clear on what he wanted. That's why he decided to just get songs. He didn't have a lot of time. He just wanted to release something before he enlists in the military. He didn't want to do any kind of solo promotions. So let's remember that so many times before we've been wrong in our expectations and we've criticized Big Hit to no end, not just criticize but actually insult Big Hit, only for us to find out later on it was BTS who decided that. So let's be careful. Let's know that as we have the freedom to state what we want and what we expect of them, that has nothing to do with their reality. Actually, Hobie said it multiple times. Exactly. He said it multiple times. No one wanted to listen. um, and then there's this crazy notion that BTS is not doing anything different. Like they got stuck to the K-pop ways. That's why they still are being viewed as a K-pop act because they continue to do things the K-pop way. And now that they're doing something different, we don't want to give them the space to do that. We complain because it's not what we want. So armies keep on criticizing them for doing I'm not saying all armies, but the ones that keep on complaining. They keep on criticizing BTS for doing things the K-pop way. And now that BTS is doing it not the K-pop way, they're still complaining. Like, what do you want? What can you make up your mind? Do you want them to not do it the K-pop way, or could just stick it out with K-pop? It's just puzzling. It's puzzling. But I hope that we can recognize that if they are doing this promotion in the West, for example, if they are a Western act or any kind of act from any other country, they are doing it this way. This is going to be a non-issue. Beyonce does not release any kind of promotional calendar. Taylor Swift does not. So I don't know what the issue is. They're staging a big event first in the history of music in of the music industry, and people are complaining. Okay. Um, and with that, I give you emotional sport picks. And this is Jungkook. So he has his latest campaign was just released by Calvin Klein. Actually, CK posted something on their X saying that okay, Jungkook signs off temporarily. I think it's because this is them sort of saying that he's not. Don't expect any new campaign from Jungkook for a while because he's going to concentrate on his comeback, on BTS's comeback. So, but it was nice of them to sort of release this right before the comeback. At least we kind of have something to go back to during the comeback. But I do feel that they are sort of stating, okay, we have nothing else, or at least nothing major to release for a while. This is Jungkook signing off, but at least we have that. So and don't forget it is free. Yeah, don't forget it is free. It's really um kind of disappointing for a lot of armies to continue expecting them to do the same things they have been doing. Like, I think it's about time that we stop expecting them to do it the K-pop way if we want them to stop being treated as a K-pop act only, exclusively. So I think this is calculated. They very much know what they are doing. Um, and I think the mere fact that they have prepared BTS The City and the Gwangwamon comeback, I think that in itself is way better than doing the usual things like an MV release, a teaser release, a promotional schedule, guestings in different shows and stuff like that. I think it's just like, come on, I would prefer Gwangwamon and BTS The City any given Sunday. Okay. I remember when Bob Dylan went electric, July 1965, Newport Folk Festival. Our folk poet appeared with an electric guitar and electric band, and everyone freaked out. Okay, the boy must be so stressed and pressured. We need to remain steadfast for them. Yeah, I think just be aware. I mean, I do support armies sort of talking about what they want, like what they expect, what they feel, or what they wish for BTS to do. But the moment that you cross the line and expect that your expectations should be met, I think that's what's wrong. Besides how to release things for this new tour and album, I'm thrilled with anything they give us. I'm glad his poster is now at my local CK store. He is amazing looking. I know, right? So there are several more pictures of him. Okay. That's another one. I actually find this. I know that he was supposed to be hot in this picture, but I found him so cute. The way he was just looking, staring at the ceiling with a blank expression in his face. I thought he's such a maknae. Okay, here's another one. You're very anxious to hear the song. So this one, I think someone just took a picture of this in one of CK's stores somewhere. They said that they haven't actually seen it released on a print ad, but I think it should be released in a print ad. But it's in a store, a CK store, and they saw it on the the wall. Not a child anymore. I know, but don't you think he looks so cute here? He was like staring at the ceiling with a blank expression on his face. So I know he's supposed to be hot here. I just found him so cute in there. He's hot here though. Okay. Um expectations only one whether whatever they do is going to be amazing and well worth the wait. CK does the best ads for Jungkook. They do. That I agree. They do. Okay. I just okay. Okay. All right. So another picture of Jungkook. Um, I quit K-pop for 2 months because fans are exhausting, and that's another uh, Jungkook. Uh, when I was actually I went on a unfollow blocking spree on X because of this. Like I can't be in this headspace. I want to just really maintain a positive mindset all throughout this comeback, and I don't want to entertain any kind of negativity. So I think my block list doubled last week because of this. Okay, do you know he's a very good looking young man, but every time I look at him I just see a cute baby. Okay. There you go. More pictures of him. Good night, everyone. Uh I think this is the two best photos, by the way. I think they should do this as a billboard or something. Okay. And then we have RM. He posted several pictures. He was looking for his mic. He was holding it, but um and I think that's Suga at the back, don't you think? I think that's Suga. Okay. And then RM. There was someone on X insisting that the guy on the glass, that's reflected behind him on the glass window is JK. But he looks good though. I like this hairstyle on RM. It's Suga in the background. That's what I think. It's Suga in the background. Okay. And of course, the new campaign for Snow Peak for Te is also released. So if you can visit their pages, their Instagram, X, and Facebook, they're all there. So it's the new campaign. Okay. I love the combination, by the way. This combination, the color combination here. I love it. Gray, blue, and black. Perfect for me. Okay, one more picture from him. So make sure to visit their website, okay, their pages, and also like and share and comment, of course. Te had a zillion shoots with Snow Peak. Yeah, yes, they do. And this is his latest one, his latest campaign. I need some comfort food. Good, right about now. V looks so handsome. Well, that's because he is handsome. Okay, more V. I think this is my last picture of him. He looks so good in that color. Te amo, te. Okay. Who in BTS? Someone sent this to me. I just found it so funny. Who in BTS would tiptoe like this? It's so cute. Of course, it's uh, the feet. And there too. So feet of Jimin. Someone just sent it to me. It's like, who in BTS? And there was only one person in my head. I was like, what? This is not good. It's so cute, right? Children are adorable. Okay. I bought the all-day tickets, Fairlane. Jimin, Jimin. Okay, they have questions before I move on to the next topic. I bought the all-day tickets, Jimin. Jimin. This men don't age. Power hour, PST, 1.5 hour left, Lorena said. I see all of them as cute babies. They are my great grandchildren. They are also quite beautiful and funny. Okay, we will embrace with love whatever they give us. Has to be the Gemini. Okay, so Big Hit actually released three announcements in the last week, I guess. Well, three if you include BTS. So you have BTS, um, the live viewing. They released the tickets for live viewing. They released the tickets for live streaming as well. So they also released or announced the comeback of um, TXT and the comeback of Cordis, all in a span of 1 week. So there is um, there's majority of the fandom of armies, I would say, are they're very supportive of these two groups, because primarily because BTS themselves are very supportive of these two groups. So majority of army fandoms have actually reacted to the announcement positively. Like, good for them that they are making a comeback. We do want HYBE to grow as a company because that the fifth biggest, largest shareholder is BTS. So as a collective, so if the growth of HYBE will be the growth of BTS's investment. But then there's also the antis that are criticizing it because they feel that Big Hit is actually using BTS's comeback to prop up the two. I do think that it is a disservice both to Cordis and to TXT. TXT has built their own fandom. I firmly believe. I think they have their own market that is separate from from BTS themselves. So, uh, so for that segment, for the MOAs, for that segment of the MOAs, I don't think it matters when you release it. They will always be there for TXT. I also think that it is actually pretty a healthy move for them because they just TXT just released sorry, just renewed their contract with Big Hit. So, and I think one of the major changes, or at least this is what I'm getting from the interviews that they are giving out, that one of the things that they sort of asserted in their renewal is sort of the ability to divert away from their concept and just do something different. Um, so I'm fully supportive of whatever they decide to do in terms of timeline, whether they want to do it April, March, April, May, June, July, whenever they do it, they want to do it. So I'm fully supportive of that. I also think that as good as their music is, I still think that they still have a lot to offer. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing something different from them. So I fully support that. And the same thing is true with Cordis because they're so young, 17 and 18-year-old boys, only one is 20. So I think that um, allowing them to release as many as often as they could would be great for them. Um, but but the hate train has already started for Cordis. So here are some of the tweets. As always, I don't include the name. I don't want people to be attacking these people. I just want to demonstrate their put use their tweets as a sample of how fans are behaving right now. They crossed they crossed 400 million cumulative streams on Spotify. And they, as I've said before, they're clearing everybody. All fourth and all fifth gen groups, they're clearing everybody. And it's the usual narratives that are going around that it is payola, that they are uh, copying sound or plagiarizing beats and melodies from other acts, stuff like that. Um, so it's already started on that other for the haters. The hate train has already started against Cordis. So one of the biggest issues that they are raising against Cordis is Cordis being given the OST for Goat, because of course this movie took about 3 years to make. And so they're arguing that if this is 3 years, then why was it not given to TXT instead of Cordis? Why was it being offered? Why was it given to Cordis? If it has been on the works for 3 years, Big Hit must have had the contact with the production company for 3 years now. Why was it not given to TXT? Okay. Um, and then there are so whenever a Cordis fan base posts about any kind of achievements, is this same narrative, like, oh, this just proves their payola, stuff like that. um but so my suggestion is to, if you're a core, ignore them. If you're an army, concentrate on BTS. We have a lot going on. You do not have to support Cordis if you don't want to. Just know that they are, I think, trying to make it on their own. I think they themselves, the boys, have acknowledged, very much acknowledged, just how privileged they are because of BTS. But the pressure now is bigger. So just allow them to grow on their own. Um, I think for armies, we have so much on our hand that just between the tour and the BTS, the city, and there's so much for us to do. Let's give them the space to grow. Some will criticize no matter if Big Hit didn't promote Cordis. Some would say it hurts BTS as they carry it all. If they do support them, some complain it takes away from BTS. It is illogical. Different music style, simple. I think Cordis will appeal to younger people, to tweens who think BTS are old men. I think it's more fit for Cordis. I do think so too, because allegedly, um, so the movie may have been in the works for 2 years or 3 years. It doesn't mean that the OST has been on the works for 3 years. That usually comes later, not earlier. So it's entirely possible that when they heard Cordis, there are people inside Hybe, specifically inside Big Hit, whose job is to look for opportunities for their groups. So it is entirely possible that everyone was offered and they zeroed in on Cordis. It's a young group, and this movie appeals to a younger market. So I think it's a natural fit. Um, love this live, but I think the next live to be happy, happy, happy. TXT might have declined it or have other things in the works. Could be. Cordis has a great potential given a chance. These people that complain must not have any kind of life. Okay, another one. So this surprisingly started going viral. This is 8 years ago. So there is this boy band that appeared in the Zach Sang show 8 years ago. Just remember 8 years ago. And the guy on the left um, started talking about how he feels. So 8 years ago, remember, okay? Don't forget that factor because it's very important in the context of what he was saying. So a lot of people took issue about what they said. What the guy said, specifically the one on the left, the one that's wearing a brown hoodie, he said something like BTS is its own category. He said that he can't get behind their songs because he does not understand what they are saying. And he said that, like, oh, there has to be an American language boy band alongside BTS because they won't be played in radio because they are singing in Korean. So do remember that this was 8 years ago. And since then, the group has actually already disbanded. So, I mean, um, also, the guy on the left, the one wearing a brown hoodie, he was the most vocal. The other two was pretty tamed. In fact, the one on the left, the extreme left, the one that's wearing a plaid shirt, he was sort of taming down what the other guy was saying because he's a big fan of BTS, and he's sort of trying to provide clarification on what the other one meant. They have disbanded, and this thing was back in 2018. I think discussing this is sort of like uh, it's useless. They don't exist anymore. And I think that kind of proves just how wrong he was in terms of opinion. Or sorry, in terms of some of the things that he claimed, because they disbanded and BTS continued. So let's leave them be. Don't hunt them down. They're disbanded. You won't find them anywhere anymore. They don't play. They don't have any recording contract. They have disbanded. Um, so is yes, Zach is an army. Isn't Zach an army? Yes, he's an army. It does, but he also is a journalist. It is his job to give people a platform. I know a lot of people have this notion that if a person does not agree with what another person is saying, they should not be given a platform. which is totally against freedom of expression. So, freedom of expression is really tested when the person you don't like gets to say the things that you don't want to hear. And that is one of those things that happened. We don't want to hear what he had to say, but it doesn't take away from the fact that he has the right to say them. But again, this was 8 years ago. So I don't know why this is being resurfaced. It's like, is Army that bored that they're trying to resurface clips like this? I mean, they 2018, they've already disbanded. Leave them alone. I think by now they get the message, right? I think if they don't get the message, they are probably beyond salvation by now. So even more of a reason for them to not pay attention to them. So yeah, this is my first comeback. Wow, who knew it could and would be this exhausting? Okay. Um, Not worth our laway, not worth our saliva is what he's saying. So not worth talking about, but not freedom of consequences. Yeah, but he didn't say anything that um, is defamatory. He said something that people felt was racist because he said he couldn't get behind it because he does not understand the language. And that is just something that, and I think he said it the wrong way. By the way, I said the same thing for other acts. I just said it a different way. So you can see the difference. So I've mentioned that there are, like, when I every now and then I would mention several artists that are singing in their own language, Asian artists that are singing in their own language. And I've mentioned that I wish I could understand, or someone would actually translate what they are singing, because for me half of the song is lyrics. I've said that many times. But because I said it in another way, people did not take it as me being racist. They just said people felt that I'm just saying, for me, half of the song is lyrics, right? And I think maybe because he was young at that stage, he sort of came off very strong and said it the wrong way. Had he said it a different way, I think it would have been received better, because the other two were kind of putting context in what he was saying. It's just that he was so loud that that the other two was getting overpowered by him. So I don't think he was necessarily being racist. I think he was misinformed, and I think after 8 years, I think he's learned. If he has not, if he has not learned, I think he's beyond salvation, and even more less worthy to be talked about. So I'm not a BP hater, but I can't relate to their lyrics no matter the language, so I get that. And translations are not always accurate. Yeah. I've said it. I think I've mentioned this to you. There is an Indonesia, and this is my favorite Indonesian act. Irfan. I think I've mentioned him to you, and I've recommended his songs to you, but he sings covers in English, but his own songs are actually in his own language. And I've mentioned, like, yeah, I've actually said this, that I don't listen much to his own songs because I don't understand the what he's saying. And for me, half of the song is in the lyrics. I'm a huge supporter of him. I am subscribed to him. I do like all sorts of things to support him. I just can't listen to his songs regularly because I don't understand the lyrics. Which is, if you would think about it, I listen to a lot of Japanese songs. I'm not fluent in Japanese. I do go out of my way to try and look for translations. It's just that for Indonesian, for his songs, there aren't a lot of translations out there. So there's also limited resources for me to try and understand his songs. But that's just a demonstration. I don't think he was fully being racist. I think he said it the wrong way. Had he said it calmly, I think it would have been better. But um I heard that you don't need translation for BP album, all English. Yes, yes, all English. They are for the BP album, it's pretty much the same. They've went for consistency instead of breaking barriers, instead of trying out new things. It's essentially the same message. We're powerful, we're above everybody else, we're cool. hide your man, things like that. Um, like there was one lyrics that sounded like a Gen Z a person would say it, like something about lolly or something. I was like, what's lollipop? I guess or something like that. But yeah, lyrics like that, something like yeah, like we're cool, we're great, things. So it's the same. They went for consistency, and probably that's by design. It's probably one of their last albums under YG as a group. I mean, after they won't be releasing a new one for a while, so they probably want to just give their fans the same song that they have that their fans have come to love. So I listen to English speaking songs that I sometimes don't understand. Okay. Well, I guess you're listening to me and I have an accent. So, all right. So, Kakao Entertainment appointed, did this is a very, very interesting move for Kakao Entertainment and for SM in general. So, they appointed someone who used to be an AI chief of a bank. So she was the one who was really focused on their data. So she would generate data, she would create or have a team that creates different software in order to organize those data and generate insights so they can act on them, but primarily banking. Okay, mostly banking. Okay. So, but before we get into why they did this, let's first understand the setup of Kakao Entertainment. They've actually, the moves that they have made in North America. Does this still sound like a Teddy song? Yes. Teddy was involved in two songs, I think. Two, I believe two, maybe three, definitely two. In 2021 and 2022, Kakao Entertainment merged with a US based platform, Tapas and Radish. So Tapas is more like webtoons and comics, and Radish is serialized fiction and web novels. And then they sort of merged the two. And at that time, the three Ashley said three songs. He was involved in three songs. So it was very clear that the way they were trying to enter the North American market was via web novels, fiction, and webtoons. You know what? When I read about this, because I did not have any idea that they bought these two platforms. But when they did this, I thought, why didn't they just buy AO3? Or what's the other one, the other fan fiction platform that people keep on using, that fans that's very popular with fans. I thought, like, why didn't they just buy AO3? There's very low cost in maintaining AO3. They're very organized. They're already popular. So they automatically have a hold on that market. And then they can just expand, right? Wattpad, there you go. So had I the money, I would actually buy AO3 and Wattpad. And from there, grow it so that they can grow it so that they can include all these other things like webtoons and comics and web novels. So I don't know why no one has made a move on AO3 yet. Or maybe they have. It's just that AO3 didn't want to be bought. That's also a thing. So it was obvious that Kakao Entertainment was trying to enter the North American market through webtoons and comics and stuff like that. Um, but so they bought this back in 2021, 2022. But to this day, Crunchyroll is still the biggest webtoon and comic platform out there. You can argue that it is actually Netflix primarily because they have 300 million subscribers, but 300 million also includes subscribers that are there not just for their webtoons and manga, well, webtoons. So if you just look at platforms that are dedicated to webtoons, it's just really Crunchyroll. They are the leading platform. But as I've said, it was very obvious that Kakao was trying to enter the US market through webtoons and manga. Now, in 2023, they were led by Joseph Chang. He became the president of Kakao Entertainment America, and they wanted to expand K-pop into the global stage. So they were trying to forge partnerships with Sony, Columbia. Um, Essentially, they wanted all of their artists to get signed by the labels, by this different labels, Sony and Columbia. So they managed to do that because most of the artists under SM Entertainment and all the companies that are owned by Kakao, they do have a US promoter. But none of them is exclusively signed to Sony or any US label. It's always distribution and part of marketing. Okay. So, and that's also why some of their acts have been invited to festivals like Lollapalooza, um, Coachella. It's because of that partnership. Okay. Uh, some of the labels that Kakao owns, Starship Entertainment, and that is home to IVE, Monster X, Gravity, WJSN, they also own Edam Entertainment, which is primarily their only talent is IU, but she's more than enough for the company. They also have Woods, so a lot of soloists actually. Antenna is also theirs, so they handle Kyuyun, which is the maknae of Super Junior, Sam Kim, and other folk trot singers as well. So outside of SM, these are the companies that they actually manage. HYBE Entertainment, Blue Dot Entertainment, Flex M Entertainment, a lot. They own a lot of management companies. But the biggest is SM Entertainment. So with Kong Jung Hee, what they want to do is create user behavior modeling. So what they want is from the get-go. So remember for SM Entertainment, they like promoting their groups even before they formally debut. So they would launch them in SM Trainee, their website, and then they will build the fandom from there. What Ko Jung Hee is going to do is from the get go, the moment you enter, show any kind of interest in any of their artists, she captures you. And from there, she's going to follow how you follow your journey through fandom, through your into all the way to becoming a stan. So from interest to becoming a stan, she's going to follow you. And then from there give you personalized contents. So she will know, okay, we have enough subscribers that like covers. So I'm going to give them covers. So she's going to allow the behavior to dictate their content. That is what essentially they are trying to do with her taking the helm, the top of being a CEO of Kakao Entertainment. So they will be mostly data driven, rather than purely creatives driven. Okay. So Kakao and their argument, what they are saying is that this is because Kakao already owns a lot of content because they already have SM, Starship, Edam. So they're already producing creative work. No need for a CEO that's going to push that because the agencies themselves are pushing that. You need someone that's going to look at all of this creative work and ask, okay, how are we going to expand our business on this? So she will become very much AI focused. But that should equate, at least what they are expecting, is that it's going to result into a better recommendation system. Meaning, from the behavior itself, they will know what kind of content they should produce based on the behavior of the fans. Okay. So she's going to launch allegedly a predictive modeling IP system, kind of similar to social media systems where they give you more of the same. If they know that you are a visual stan, they're going to give you more visual idols. Okay. So that's essentially if HYBE is leaning into tech narratives, right? So HYBE would usually start with a creative the same way they did for BTS. They created Wayang Yonwa. From there, they created different IPs. And then from the different IPs, they took the fans and match them. Like, this is how we're going to allow you to discover the content. But for Kakao Entertainment, IP or AI is there from the beginning. The moment you enter their system, they're going to follow you and look at how you are behaving. And then from there, create the content versus HYBE, who create the contents first. And from there, market it. They're going to do it reverse. They'll look at your behavior and then develop the content based on your behavior. Okay. I will deliberately stay away. More of the same, yeah. So they are expecting like a better global infrastructure because of this. They said that because of what she's going to do, they anticipate that they can provide or create more content that will allow them to expand to the North American market and also have a better hold of the Japan market. So rather than simply exporting Korean content, this will be a data localized global scaling. So global scaling, meaning, as I've said, if you are in the US, for example, they can develop content specifically for the US based on the behaviors of US fans. Okay. Um, all right. So this is how they're seeing the competition. HYBE will be focused primarily on fandom platforms and global label acquisitions. CJENM will leverage broadcast and production power because they have cinema, they have live streaming platforms. And then Kakao will dominate webtoons and digital storytelling. That's how they anticipate these three biggest players are going to do to go about their business. Kakao will be in charge. So under Kakao is SM Entertainment, Starship, and blah blah blah. And then CJENM is their own entity, but they're a big player in the US, definitely bigger than JYP, definitely bigger than YG, and of course bigger than SM. So they anticipate that these are the big three from Korea in the US. I wonder how this will affect the perception of the artistry. I think it will be bland and to lowest common denominator. How do these three companies compare really? So in terms of, if you look at like pure not profitability, but gross, in terms of gross, Hybe is on top, but CJENM has a hold on a different segment of the market because they have theaters, they have broadcasting system, they have media. So they don't necessarily, they produce shows, but they don't take care of, they don't have their own, they don't build their own talents. They don't do that. They are producing shows, they have a platform, they have broadcasting networks. Now, so, and then Kakao will be on the web. They think they will be will be the major player in webtoons and digital storytelling. But in terms of monetary, in terms of size of the company, it's HYBE, CJENM, and then Kakao. In the US, in South Korea, Kakao is the biggest. I hope that makes sense. It is interesting how they are giving space for each their own specialty. It's interesting. It's interesting. I just, because I don't know if you go here, if you go to LA, SM Entertainment actually has an office. They have a space. It's just it's like my neighbor, very close to where I am. Well, I guess not very close, but close enough to where I am. There's a they bought a building. Um, and they were supposed to rebuild it to make it the SM town in LA, but that has nothing has happened yet. It would be interesting how Kakao is going to use SM for their creatives in the US, because it seems that as a company, as a conglomerate, they're thinking of IPs. So I think they're developing IPs more than developing creatives. Hybe is the only one that's very focused on developing content, developing creatives. Kakao is focused on developing, and you can argue that IP is content. Sure, that's an argument that you can make. But because it is primarily driven by consumer behavior, it's like they are going to create content based on what they know the market is going to like, versus Hybe, who looks at creatives and then thinks of a way on how to market that to the fans. So yeah, I think they are going to be sort of dominating different fields, but I also think that at some point Kakao is going to use SM to compete with Hybe on that space. My friend works for SM in LA. She really likes it. I don't care for Kakao. I feel it is not safe there. Have your sources given any hint when more scheduled announcements will be made? Has he given any hint? No. No, I don't think he has. I've actually primarily asked him for like what to expect. I haven't really asked for. I'll try to ask. Um okay, so basically I think Kakao is going to try and own the story, the narrative market, the narrative industry. I think that's what they're going to be owning more than building talents and more than nurturing artists. I also expect a lot of efficiency when it comes to spending. She is, after all, from the banking industry, so I think she's gonna try and like make their spending more efficient. So I think in the next maybe 6 months, maybe 3 quarters, I think their bottom line will improve because that's what she's best at. And I'm not just talking about SM, but Kakao Entertainment in general. But I think the biggest problem with this move is that they still don't have someone creative on top. They, even the leadership of SM Entertainment, SM itself, not Kakao, they're all very business driven rather than creative driven. And that could be the reason they haven't really developed anything different creatively since Isuman actually left. Because I can actually argue that the last unique, or at least an attempt of it, the last unique concept they had was ESPA for their metaverse concept. I don't think it was executed well, but it is an attempt to do something different. Since then, there's not much of a move for them creatively, and that actually brings me to one thing. So, um, the lack of creativity is really noticeable at SM. It's also been luring into old EXO stuff. It's also freaking cool. The strategy is all about shaping behavior, nothing about content or creativity. Kay Inoka, see you next time. I hope we get correct photos by this week for Arirang. Okay, so I think you should also prepare yourself for um something more controversial in the coming week, this week and next week. Just that the closer that we get to the actual launch, the more controversial things are going to come out. There is a reason why there's a reason many narratives are coming back. There's a reason fandoms of other groups are becoming louder with their association for BTS. Association with BTS, it's all to try and ride the coattails of BTS. So expect some. It already started. Like this morning, there's some like talks about a certain group saying this and saying that. So expect more of that. It's just that I think before the comeback, as we come closer to the comeback, more things are going to come out. So just be prepared for that. SM did treat so many of their artists rather badly. So I know I'm trying to not to Omar drama. Yeah, I'm trying not to mention names. But if you go to any kind of social media platform, there is this there's a lot of fans are complaining, a lot of armies, or at least they claim to be armies, complaining that this certain group released or said something that references this BTS member, And my first thought was like, how do you have the time to actually even to even look at their content? We have so much going on. But I think all of those things are some of those accounts are actually setup accounts that they are doing it intentionally because they know some armies are going to react. So try not to just shut down all the noise and let's just start the lockdown now. We have 18 days to go, right? 18 or 17 days to go. We don't have a lot of time. So let's just concentrate on BTS. And personally, because I'm leaving on the 18th, that essentially gives me like less than 2 weeks if I include my preparation. So let's ignore all the noise. If there's anybody that are talking about issues, block them. Really, really, just so little time for so many things that are going to happen. Okay. Do you have questions before I log out of the day? And I promise that on Wednesday it's all going to be positive things. Okay. How are you able to remain calm and juggle all of this? Believe me, I'm trying to make as much space as I can. I know that my uploads are going to be irregular while I am in Korea, but I'm going to do more live streams. So I'm trying to I'm trying to advance all of my episodes so I could, at least upload something still while I'm in Korea. But yeah. I'm also like drowning with stuff that I need to finish before I go to Korea. This was a very down show. As I've said, life. BTS lockdown mode. BTS lockdown mode. Okay. All right. So I'll see you next week. And then so not next week on Wednesday. And I promise by then I'm sure we're going to have something new to talk about BTS. Thank you. Bye. Just BTS focus from here on. Yes. Any update on Bang Shio? I'll give you an update next week. Thanks on Wednesday. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.